What's up, guys? So today I got a rod and reel arsenal for you. First we'll get into the spinning rods. Those are the ones I have the fewest amount of. So up first is my favorite spinning rod that I have. It's a 7-foot Art & Edge rod with a C-Force 2000. I'm throwing 8-pound McCoy 100% fluorocarbon on here, and it's my tube rod. Tubes are probably one of my favorite baits to throw. I'm big into catching smallmouth, and tubes are like crack for smallmouth. So this is my favorite spinning rod. We'll get into the next one. The next one is one second. Sorry about that. The next one is a 6'9" medium light Art & Edge rod, a C-Force 2000, and this is my drop shot rod. I'm throwing 20-pound McCoy braid on there, high vis, and I got an 8-pound leader on there. That's 8-pound McCoy 100% fluorocarbon. It's about 3 foot of that. I'm not really big into drop shotting, so right now I'm just throwing a hair jig on there. And if you followed me on Instagram and you've seen that smallmouth I posted the other day, that was caught on this hair jig and this setup right here. Once the hair jig bite dies off, I will be going back to drop shot with this rod. Pretty nice rod, very light, very sensitive. If you're into drop shot and you want a nice drop shot setup, I would definitely recommend this setup. Next is another C-Force 2000. I won't go into much about the rod because this rod's going to get switched out. So this is C-Force 2000, 8-pound McCoy braid, fluorocarbon, I'm sorry. And this is my shaky head reel. This is a 7-foot medium heavy rod, but it's going to get switched out to another 7-foot medium Art & Edge rod, and that'll be for shaky head, like I said. Next up is my Keitech rod. I only throw Keitechs on this rod. I love Keitech so much that I got one setup just for Keitechs. This is a 7-foot 3-power rod, and this is an Ardent Wire 2000, and I'm throwing 8-pound McCoy 100% fluorocarbon on there. I really like to throw a 3/16 ounce ball head with my Keitechs. I like to just make a nice long cast, let that Keitech sink to the bottom, and just creep it along. That's how I get my best success on a Keitech. The next up is a 7'2" Art & Edge rod. This is a medium heavy, and this is a C-Force 3000. On this reel, this is going to be for lighter Texas rigs. When I don't feel like throwing my bait caster for a lighter Texas rig, I'll throw this rod. It's going to have 30-pound McCoy braid on there. I'm not big into leaders, so probably won't have a leader on there. But yeah, so light Texas rigs on that. And then my last spinning rod that I'm waiting for a reel for is my finesse rod. And my finesse rod is a 7'4" 2-power rod, and it will be paired up with another Ardent Wire 2000, and I'll be throwing 8-pound McCoy 100% fluorocarbon. And types of bait I'll be throwing is like a Nico rig, a Ned rig, those types of finesse baits. Okay, let's just get this one out of the way. But this is my swim bait rod. I don't have a reel for it. I did order the Ardent Magnum for it. This is a 7'9" 5-power swim bait rod. For me, this will be for umbrella rigs and HUDs and stuff like that. I'm not really big on throwing swim baits. Haven't really got into it. I just ordered some swim baits, but mostly this will be for the tournaments that allow umbrella rigs when the fish are schooling. So now let's get into the bait casters. We'll start out with my favorite rods, my flipping sticks, and my swim jig rod. So first up is my swim jig rod. This is an Art & Edge. It's a 7.3 heavy action with an extra fast tip. This is a Ardent Apex Elite. It's got that nice blue accents on it with the carbon fiber handles and the EVA foam grips. This is a 6.3-1, and it's got 13 ball bearings. Pretty fast reel for being a 6.3-1. I'll be going to have this with 50-pound McCoy braid, and like I said, this will be for swim jigs. Alright, next is my setup for flipping laydowns and brush and stuff. It's a 7/6 heavy action rod, and I'm using a Ardent Apex Grand. On this, I'll be throwing 20-pound McCoy 100% fluorocarbon, or 25, whatever, for just flipping bushes and stuff, and lay downs. Alright, next up we have my heavy jig flip rod. So I like to have a flipping stick for wood, for a heavy jig, and then one for either a 1 ounce or 1.5 ounce. This happens to be my heavy flipping jig rod. It's a 7/6 medium heavy Ardent edge rod. And I got that paired up with an Ardent Apex Elite and a left-handed model. I like to flip with my left hand, just so you don't have to swap hands. And on this rod, I'll be throwing mostly 1 ounce jigs. This has 65-pound McCoy braid. My next setup is the Ardent edge rod. Again, this is a 7/6 medium heavy, and on this one I'm throwing the Ardent Apex Grand. You got that nice white finish with your gold accents, and again with your EVA foam grips. 65 McCoy braid, and if I don't have a 1 ounce on this, I'll put a 1.5 ounce, and then the other rod will have a 1 ounce. I got all the areas covered, so I don't have to sit there tie Snell knot. Alright, now let's get into the rest of the bait casters. First up, we got a 7-foot heavy rod with an Ardent Apex Pro. This is a 7:3 to 1 gear ratio. It's got 11 ball bearings, and it's got a nice red accent finish. This reel is pretty fast and pretty smooth. Great reel for the money. For me, this is going to be my spook rod and my frog rod, so I'll be throwing 50-pound braid on this rod. Alright, next up we got my Ardent 7-foot medium heavy and my Ardent Apex Elite 6.5 to 1. This is my chatterbait and spinnerbait rod. For me, I'll have 15-pound McCoy 100% fluorocarbon. I go back and forth between 15 and 17 with spinnerbaits and chatterbaits. Right now, I'm more confident with the 15. I'm sure halfway through the year I'll switch out and put 17 if I break a fish off or something. McCoy's been pretty good to me. I haven't break any fish off with the McCoy yet, so we'll see what happens. That's the chatterbait rod. Next up is my jig rod, one of my jig rods. It's a 7-foot medium heavy action rod. And I got an Ardent Apex Grand on there. I'll have 20-pound fluorocarbon on this normally. And this is for my 3/8 to my 1 ounce jigs. It's got a real nice tip on it, very sensitive. So I like it a little bit for my smaller jigs. And when I throw like a 1/2 ounce, it'll be like a more compact jig, like a Kitech, compact tungsten jig. Next up is my light Texas rig Senko rod, mostly Senko rig rod. It's a 7-foot medium heavy. It's an Ardent Apex Grand, so it's at 7.3 to 1. I got 10-pound McCoy fluorocarbon on there, and this is my Senko and light Texas rig rod. These edge rods are very sensitive and very light. Alright, let's what we got next. Okay, we have a 7-foot medium action edge rod with a Ardent Apex tournament reel. So this is a 6.5 to 1. It's got 9 ball bearings, very smooth. It's got nice gold accents on there. This is my pop water rod and top water, smaller top water bait rod. I got 15-pound mean green McCoy line. This is a great top water setup if you're looking for something to throw pop bars and stuff on. Highly recommend it. Alright, next up we got my other jig reel and rod. Right now I just got a chatterbait on there with the Kitech. But it's a 7-foot medium heavy Arden Edge rod with an Arden Apex Grand on there, 6.3-1. This reel is going to go on to a little bit heavier rod. I bought a little bit longer rod too. I'm not going to mention any names on the rod that's going to be on this, the rod that this reel is going on. But it will be for, you know, your bigger, my full size half-ounce jigs and my football head jigs and stuff like that. Okay. Next up is one of my crankbait rods. This is a 7'5", I mean a 705, so it's a 7'5" power glass crankbait rod. It's got an Arden Apex Elite on there, 6.5-1, 12-pound McCoy fluorocarbon, and this is my trap rod, my square bill rod, and my smaller crankbait rod. As that's what I'm going to use on this. And then in the beginning of the season, I'll throw jerk baits on there, my bigger jerk baits, so like your Vision 110s, you know, your Rapala X Wraps, things like that is what I'll throw on this rod. My light jerk bait and, you know, real shallow crankbait setup. It's a 7'4" power glass rod. I have an Arden Apex lead on here, so it's a 6.5-1. This is 8-pound McCoy fluorocarbon. I feel like that 8-pound will get this little jerk bait real deep. And you just feel a lot of bites on this. You know, sometimes when they eat this smaller jerk bait, it's a little tiny bite, a little tick. Other times it could be vicious, but I feel like this 8-pound test really makes a difference. I don't know, it's just a personal preference, I guess, confidence thing. Alright, next rod is my Denny Brauer Pro Series. I believe this is a 7.5 rod, I think it's a medium heavy. With an Arden Apex Elite. I got 10-pound McCoy fluorocarbon on there. This rod is going to be from my DT14s, my 6XDs, you know, crankbaits like that is what is going to get thrown on this rod. It's a great crankbait rod if you're looking for something to handle those types of crankbaits. I'm sure you could throw other types of crankbaits on there, but for me, I got a wide range of crankbait rods, so that's just specifically for those types of crankbaits. Now here's my deep crankbait rod. So this is for your DT20s, your 10XDs, stuff like that. You're going to want to throw on this. An Arden Apex Elite. This is a 5.3-1, so it's your deep crank reel. 13 ball bearings, and I'll throw 14 to 15 pound test on here. Why? Just because I feel like you need that little bit heavier line to really launch those crankbaits out there without them snapping off. I don't know. I don't really feel like I could throw, you know, a DT20 or a 10XD on 10-pound test line. I just don't have any confidence in it. I feel like I'll break that crankbait off maybe, and my crankbait will sail down the lake. So those are all my combos. My favorite reel from Arden right now is the Apex Elite. As you can see, that's what I have the most of. The Arden Grand is a close second, but all of Arden's reels are great reels. I would definitely check out the C4 spinning reels, crazy fast. Even the Finesse is great. I do have the Finesse, but I gave it to my dad, and I don't have it right now, so I can't show it to you guys, but that's a great reel too, and it's a great price. The Wire is also a great spinning reel. I mean, Arden makes a quality product, from their rods to their reels to their line, cull tags, weighing bags. They got you covered. They make some great stuff. You definitely got to check them out. I'll leave a link in the description below to get to Arden's website. I just want to thank you guys for watching this video. Stay tuned for more on Tight Lines, everyone.